Hey everyone, how's it going? Alex Mendez here, or you can just call me Golden Boy, and I am here in San Diego, California with the Psionic Studios guys, and joining me right now is Corey Davis, game director of Nosgoth. Corey, how you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I can't wait to get some Nosgoth. So actually, let me just ask you, what are people going to see here today?
So this is our first look at gameplay footage, live gameplay footage, and we're going to see a lot of different things. We're going to see a new map, a bunch of different classes and abilities, some custom personal skins, premium skins, and maybe even some unreleased content for the beta.
Ooh, all right, okay, cool. So we're going to be taking a look at a vast majority of things here with Nosgoth. It's going to be awesome. Can't wait. So we're actually going to take a look at the profiles and the armory as well, just the menu system of Nosgoth. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Tell me about the Hunter.
So the Hunter is our sort of bread and butter ranged class. He's got an automatic crossbow, so people that play other shooters, he'll feel right at home with him. But he's also got a variety of damaging and disabling abilities. So, we're looking right now at the grenade. It's a extremely powerful, typical grenade that you lob at somebody. But vampires are so fast; it takes a lot of skill to aim it properly and time it properly.
Yeah.
His bola is really his staple skill, which we saw for a second there. It actually wraps up vampires' arms and disables them.
Yeah, and now we're taking a look at the Scout, which kind of is the more long-range focus class.
So we're looking at his longbows. He's a sniper. He's got a camouflage ability that lets him go invisible. He can call out a rain of arrows and damage an entire group of vampires, which is really useful in group fights.
Nice. Okay, well, of course, we'll see a lot of that, variety later on as people play, and of course the Alchemist as well, another class, and the Alchemist is more or less that damage based, AOE class.
AOE damage dealer and support to some extent.
Okay, very cool. And I guess of the three, which is the one that you prefer to use a little bit more than the other? If you had to give
if
the
I
nod,
had to pick one, I really like playing Scout, but I treat them all equally when balancing.
You treat them all fair. We want to get that point across. And another thing I want to ask you is about the abilities here. And actually, we're taking a look at one of the vampires of Reaver, which is I think one of the going to be one of the more popular ones.
Probably,
or something.
Yeah.
Everything's earnable.
Sure.
Correct. So
so all these abilities, we're developers, so we have everything unlocked right now, but nothing gameplay relevant is cash only. You can earn everything by acquiring gold and purchasing it in the store.
Okay, that's very nice. And I'll take a look at the Tyrant.
Yeah.
My personal fave.
He's a lot of fun.
He just dominates everyone. Absolute destruction. Hopefully we get to see that, as we take a look at some of the matches here. And he's more of that tank character, right?
Yeah, he can be played as a tank. You can also, we just saw in Rage, you can play him as a damage dealer if you prefer that role, but he has a very big, hulking, tanky vampire. That's what you want to play.
Of course, never a bad thing there.
Yeah.
And the Sentinel, finally, the aerial-based class here of the three vampire groups.
Yeah, he can actually fly around maps. You have to climb to altitude before you can fly, but that's not too hard to do as a super agile vampire.
Without a doubt.
He's got a lot of really cool moves. Mainly, he can kidnap enemies and snatch them into the air and carry them away from their team.
All right. Well, I think we are going to be taking a look now at some action and seeing how these players and everyone stacks up.
Yep.
Any predictions on anything like crazy that we might see?
I don't know. The teams are usually pretty even.
Okay.
But we'll see. We've had some powerful vampire teams here in the past, so they may take the day. We'll see. So we're loading into the Sommerdamm map. This is our newest map that we released to the alpha recently. It's the first time we're showing it publicly. It's this really cool sort of human city under siege, and we're actually fighting over this prison city that's attached to it. So when Hawk here looks up into the hills, you can kind of see a city up on a hill on fire.
Yeah, and also using the Alchemist class here, which is actually something that we did not touch upon in the when we were showing you guys the menus and everything, because we of course wanted you guys to see this one in action. So the Alchemist is very unique in comparison to the, and I feel like obviously the other two classes are super unique, but the Alchemist in itself provides a much different experience, and you can actually see an engagement happening right now, right away. And that's not going to be good. Yeah.
So yeah, the Alchemist, the cool thing she's got going is she not only has projectile weapons, so she's got this grenade launcher she's using. She just used her firewall, so she can basically conjure this nasty wall of flame that hurts vampires pretty badly. It's a good sort of positional deterrent. You can walk off an inch your way or something like that.
Yeah. So, and what are the alchemist's strengths though, right? Because you mentioned a firewall, but going up against a tyrant, that's not
going
good.
for the melee kill.
Already.
That was pretty cool.
That actually was pretty cool. It took 3 people to take the alchemist down, take Huck down.
So her strength ultimately is range damage, or AoE damage, sorry.
Okay.
So the other classes are very much single target focused except for their abilities. She's constantly shooting explosives. So if the vampires group up, she can do a ton of area damage to all of them.
Okay. And now, and just, my thing about this game is the maps, while, they are very diverse in their design, it's not like you're going to be spawned out so far away that you're not going to get to the action.
Right. So humans in particular, we do some squad spawning. So we try to, it's very hard to survive on your own in this game by design. So we try to spawn you in a group with your teammates. So even if you die a little off sync with somebody, you'll spawn together as a unit.
Oh, and now we see the
kidnapped.
kidnap. That's not good. And this is going to cause a certain amount of damage there. Now, what's the range on the damage, actually, when you get kidnapped? So, like, curiosity.
So the base kidnap doesn't do direct damage, but you take more and more damage the farther you fall. You can't take a one-hit kill just because we avoid those as a rule.
Okay.
But you can do maybe half to 70% of your life if you get high enough in the air. That's just, it's hard to pull off as a sentinel.
Okay. And, you have that balance between all these different classes, kind of like rock, paper, scissors. So, actually...
She's actually kind of weak against sentinels, for instance. So the other guys have these, super accurate long-range weapons. She's shooting... explosive, so it's kind of hard to hit a flying target.
Now, what was that she used there?
So that is the healing mist. He's swapped to a more support ability. So what he did was he traded out his flame wall, which is, while defensive, a damaging ability, for healing mist, which heals all of his teammates inside of it. So you can heal it. Oh, he just got murdered by the sentinel.
It's got mauled, ran up on you.
So it's a pretty cool sentinel ability called puncture, where he actually stabs you with both of his wings and does a ton of damage.
Ooh. That does not sound like a good way to go.
But yeah, so humans, there are these resupply stations, we'll point them out in a minute, that let you get ammo and health back, but you can only use them every 2 minutes. Ooh. So having the ability to heal your whole team at once is really powerful. Yeah,
that's a pretty great ability. And now, what was that there that
was
she used?
The light bomb. So she starts with a flashbang, but you can trade that out for a more damaging bomb instead if you don't need the blind effect.
Okay.
So she was basically trying to open with some damage there.
Okay.
And actually, like there's the healing mist again, so you can see he's healing up inside of his effect.
Yeah, and actually teammates are using it too.
Congregating to it.
Now, is that a little dangerous though, right? Because
definitely.
You have them grouping together, and that could spell doom there, especially if you have one of those tyrants get in there and ruin their day.
So a good tyrant will come charging in or jumping in the spot. We also see those healing areas are magnets for the Reaver who just killed him. Has these green choking bombs. Yeah. And a lot of times you'll see it's just a magnet for that kind of AoE.
Yeah.
Because you can basically negate the heal.
Wow. Okay, so you negate the heal and then you just end up causing damage?
Yeah. So normally...
If I threw my bomb on top of the mist.
Right, it kind of cancels out. You're taking damage and getting healed at the same time.
Okay, and now switch over to some Hunter gameplay here.
So this is our sort of...
risky.
He's a little bit more like playing a traditional shooter. He's got an automatic weapon. It's a crossbow. It looks like he's using the multi-bow, which is the burst fire model. So what he's done is, this is an unlockable, or you can purchase it. But you can trade out full auto for burst fire.
And of course gives you a little bit more accuracy. Reaver right in front. And that was the bola, actually. So you just saw that kind of get into play there, and you see the damage on the other side of the wall, so they were able to clean up that kill. And that's great, right? Because now, I guess what I'm a little worried about here, looking at this from like maybe an esports perspective, for example, is, are the humans like Left 4 Dead if they're by themselves? Or
don't kill.
Well, I guess I answered my own question there. Because I guess people always look at it and they're like, oh yeah, well the vampires obviously have to be like really good, but then taking a look here at this game, humans are winning 17 to 12, so I think they're doing kind of okay.
Actually, the vampires are winning right now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But yeah, it's a fair point, and we try to strike a balance. There's another bola. Try to strike a balance of, we want humans to have to group up because it's a more interesting game and they require teamwork to succeed.
Yeah.
But we never want you to feel totally powerless. So one-on-one, you always have a chance, especially if you're a really good human player. Okay. So it's not like Left 4 Dead where you're going to get pounced by a smoker or something and just be totally out of the fight without a teammate.
Okay.
But you are pretty vulnerable for sure.
Yeah. Well, and I think also, if when a game goes out into the wild, right? You have these players that are just so good already,
good.
and I think you said it before. It's like when it goes out there, I'm already bad at the game because everyone else is these players that have so much experience, and you can see some of that accuracy there. Yeah. That multi-bow.
So interestingly, the initial reaction is often that the vampires are overpowered or too good, and what we find is we've actually had to do more to correct humans being OP, because as people get more and more and more accurate, the humans just get deadlier and deadlier, whereas the vampires are a little more ability driven, a little more movement driven. So we're constantly looking at ways to increase the skill cap for vampires.
And while there are a lot of abilities for the humans for single target, I would say the vampires, they're more single target focused, but they are, when you use your abilities well, like you can really just take over like a confrontation, like we saw right there where the humans ended up just getting crushed.
That's been a focus for us because they are a melee faction, but we find just spamming the melee button isn't super skillful. Like, it's your bread and butter, but the strength of a good vampire player should be proper timing and aiming of your abilities. So we put a lot of their power into those. Yeah. We'll see those in a little bit.
Vampires are only going to be 2 kills away from victory here. So, in-house vampire, this team of vampires definitely, outperforming.
Yeah, it looks like we may have not assigned the teams as well as we should have, but we'll see how it goes when they trade sides, see if it's quite the same or not.
That should be pretty fun there. So about 2 minutes and 40. So now you guys, there's a flamethrower.
Yeah.
That has been the bane of my existence in the alpha so much.
He
goodness.
It there.
Yeah, he totally did. But as a Reaver, I just fear for myself. So now 14 to 30, we have a second side. I'm curious, what happens in the instance of a draw? Like, what have you planned?
So if you draw in the one round, then you obviously have the second round to settle it because it's the cumulative score that wins. We're still discussing how we want to handle full round draws. Right now, we go towards the team that achieved the score first.
Okay.
So if you get to 30 kills, the round ends immediately, and you win that round. So we basically just treat whoever reached the score first that it ends on as the winner right now.
Okay.
But, we're always looking at things. It'd be awesome to have like a sudden death sequence or something like that, but it's a little more challenging with 2 factions because it's like you have to play both in a sudden death.
Yeah. Now we have Reaver gameplay here, and again, guys, this is like one of the first times that you're probably seeing this. So a lot of you are probably going wild in the chat, or you're really just digging it. Now the Reaver is, I wouldn't say you're more traditional because I don't think it's what I would expect most people when they log into the game to select because it's something that looks a little familiar. But the skills and abilities that the Reaver have are very unique. Well, why don't you break that down a little bit?
He's very much a skirmisher, sort of. You can see our giant glowing tyrant there, who's more of the tank class. The Reaver is more of our skirmishing DPS.
Triple kill.
Yeah, Hawk just got a triple. So what he's focusing on. His core ability is the pounce. Basically, he can charge up and leap pretty far across the level. If you played the Hunter in Left 4 Dead, you'd probably be familiar with the idea of what the ability is. And Hawk's chosen Haste, which is a sort of a movement and attack speed buff. So when he gets into close range, he can pop that and just go to town with melee attacks.
And the Q is which one again?
The Q, he's using the poison grenade. So we treat them more as bombs than grenades because vampires using grenades is a little funky, but he's basically got this concoction that's poisonous to humans, and it's a great camping or turtle breaking ability because we don't want humans to just sit in the house and be invincible.
Yeah.
So Reavers and other classes have these things you can kind of chuck into doorways or rooftops and push people out of a camp spot.
And I noticed also in my time playing, there are different variations to certain abilities, and for example, the bola, the dreaded bola. If you're a Reaver, you'll get hit with that quite a bit. But you have that time. He's propped up on there, so you have different kinds of abilities. Like I know one apparently doesn't assist you as much with being able to leap onto a victim. You have to aim it yourself manually, right?
Yeah, so his core ability that you get when you start is called Pounce. We have a variation called Savage Pounce that does more damage, but it doesn't provide any aim assist. So you can see when he's charging it up, there's a little claw marker over people's heads. That means you have them locked on.
Okay.
And it basically will help you hit them.
9 times out of 10, you should be able to hit them.
Right, and the Savage Pounce basically lets you trade out. Say, I'm really good. I'm going to forego all my aim assistance, but I'll get more damage. So it rewards skill shots. So if you line up the perfect pounce from way across the map, it does significantly more damage than the base pounce does.
I can only imagine calling that action. He's going to go for it.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, across the map.
It's pretty... Oh, the guy just got kidnapped.
That is just not cool at all.
So... Oh, he's going for it here. He missed it.
Oh, man, that would have been disgusting.
One of
if
the
he
coolest
caught that.
interactions is actually grabbing a guy out of the sky. We have a couple.
So you can have that interaction, right?
Yeah.
That team comp almost.
We don't
between
put
the two.
any limitations on that. We haven't seen that level of coordination in the alpha yet, but we assume eventually players are going to just do absurd things.
Now, what was that ability that he just busted out with the when he turned blue? That was the...
He switched to evasion, so that's what you start with as a Reaver. It's more of a defensive cooldown than haste, which he had on earlier. And evasion dodges all the bullets that are shot at you, and it will also break you out of any things like bullet. So it's very good for survival purposes. But yeah, it turns off your attack. So the trade-off is you're basically invincible except to explosions, but you can't attack people.
Which alchemists have taken full advantage of when I fight them. And
exploded.
Nothing they could do there. So Psionic's very own Eric with that kill. So the Reaver certainly is one of the more, it is the faster of the 3 that are currently out right now.
Yeah.
And, oh, wow, I did not know you could do that. Okay.
Some people use it as a movement ability. So it's got a cooldown of about 12 seconds. So if you think, you're going to have time between when you use it before you engage, you could use it as a sort of traversal ability and then let it recharge before you actually fight.
So if you think you're running and scaling buildings, you can actually just leap over everything, which is pretty awesome. But it's obviously not as powerful as the Tyrant's Leap, for example, because the Tyrant's Leap comes down and just crashes on everyone.
Yeah, it doesn't afford you nearly as much control with the aiming trajectory, things like that.
Okay. And it seems like gets picked off again.
He's going to switch over to the Sentinel here.
Okay. And what is he going to use?
Try and kidnap some of these alchemists.
Dive bomb? All right.
Yeah, so he's using the stock Sentinel loadout. You basically get kidnap, which we've seen from the other side. So, you can't fly from standing. You have to climb something and leap off of it to get the altitude, basically, to start flying. But once you're in flight, we don't put any restrictions on it.
Yeah, and I actually there's that dive bomb. Missed the dive bomb, but that dive bomb's devastating though.
Yeah.
I've had it done to me quite a few times. I think I've if anything, I've revealed that my ability in this game not that well. Oh man, and that was going to be Eric again with another one of those. So, decided, okay, dive bomb's not going to work.
A little bit. He's switching to takeoff, which is a little bit more survival oriented. And what takeoff lets you do is actually, like it says, take off straight into the air.
Okay.
So what it's great at is it's an escape. So if I'm taking a ton of damage, I get bored, whatever, he'll actually rocket off the ground and cause a shockwave that damages people nearby.
And this should be a big kill.
That's 600 damage right there.
That hurts.
So he's going to chase, it looks like.
And
he may have been evaded.
Yep, actually was evaded. I think he ran to the right and he went to the left. That's unfortunate. And so the skin actually that he's using, is that a...
That's a premium skin right there.
Okay.
Nice wing flap. So what that does is actually knock everyone in a line. Everyone in a line in front of you off their feet. So it's actually pretty powerful if you aim it right because it'll disrupt whatever the enemy team is doing.
And it can hit multiple targets at the same time.
And they take fall damage, so if they're standing by a ledge and you wing flap them, they'll take quite a bit of damage falling to their potentially death, but probably
or probably
just to a lower ledge,
break their ankle.
But it rewards you for finding people near ledges and things like that.
Oh wow, okay. And then you had mentioned that you've been seeing a lot of advanced players actually fly really low to the ground to avoid getting hit by these scouts.
Yeah. So what you'll see with really good Sentinel players and against good human players is that they get so good at aiming that if you maintain too much altitude, you'll just get picked off before you get close. So what we find good Sentinels do is fly very close to the ground using geometry to shield them from humans until the last second.
That's actually a really good approach, and I just absolutely love that.
There goes the pounce. So he was having a little trouble with the
Sentinel.
With Sentinel, so he switched back to Reaver. Looks like he's still using.
I'll tell you what, though, the human team has been doing a great job of just holding him back with the like the alchemist.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like really just taking advantage of that.
Yep.
And there goes that aim assist right there. But you can get broken out, as you saw right there. So if you're getting shot, you are going to be taking some damage, and you're going to have to get away from that.
Yeah, you can knock. So he's playing Reaver with Pounce. You can knock pouncing Reavers off of teammates. you see it happening.
Now, does that happen with the Savage as well?
Yeah, they both use that.
Ooh.
So most of your damage comes from impact, but you do incapacitate the target and deal damage over time to them, but that can be interrupted by teammates.
Okay, and just had a reckless alchemist actually try and get in the fray there, but ended up paying dearly. So
he's evading right now. He can't take damage from bullets.
Yeah, but an alchemist doesn't care about that.
Right.
An alchemist will just devastate you.
He
So,
probably didn't want to go
man.
in there. Luckily, he got away.
Now, a Reaver generally will, like, so when you look at it, that was a great pounce, by the way. So, a Reaver generally will not be the guy that's going to initiate.
He's dead. That's a great ending screen.
So 44 to 51. So the totals are added at the end, right? And the winner is the first vampire team. I don't know. Well, I don't know. We should give them names. I don't know.
Team 1 and Team 2.
Okay. Well, you know what? If you want to be generic,
Hawks team and Alex's team.
Okay.
Hawks team 1. It looks like.
Okay. Hawks team 1. Woo! All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it certainly was awesome to see there, and of course, a little bit of varied gameplay as well, which never hurts, right?
Yeah.
And so we're gonna go and actually hop into a second game where we're gonna be showing off Siege, and that should be pretty fun.
Yeah.
Now, you may have heard about it before on the blog, but now you're actually going to get to check out for the first time ever Siege on Province, which it's all new. So I've never seen this. You've seen it quite a bit, but the people at home definitely haven't seen it. So tell us about Siege.
So Siege mode is our take on more traditional objective-driven modes like Domination.
Okay.
But what we found developing this mode, we wanted an objective-based mode. It's a nice alternative to Team Deathmatch where your team has a goal instead of just kill as many people as possible.
Yeah.
And what we found was, when you play this game, vampires are ridiculously good at moving around the map. So traditional deathmatch just doesn't work because Sentinel can literally fly between capture points.
Traditional domination, right?
Yeah, traditional domination. Sorry. And so the focus of this mode is actually human-driven. They have these basically flare cannons that are calling in reinforcements, and you've got to capture them by standing near them, much like a traditional domination mode. But vampires, their only objective is to prevent this from happening. So they're not capturing; they're just trying to kill you and basically wipe out all of your lives or reinforcements before you can fire off enough cannons.
Yeah, that's right. And the way that this works is you have a certain amount of lives.
Yeah.
Right? And how many lives do you have in the team?
30.
So you have 30 lives. So it's similar to Team Deathmatch,
Yeah.
but now, like you said before, there's just an objective to it. So looking at Siege here, again, like you said, the objective for the team, capture it.
Yeah.
Can the vampires capture A back just to make sure?
They can't. So once it's captured, it basically deactivates, and you have to capture. There's always 2 objectives at a time to give you some choice. We don't want to railroad you into one spot and have the vampire just lurking. So we give the human team a little bit of choice, but once you've captured one, you have to get the other.
Okay, and there's a certain amount of time that you have before it unlocks, and then you end up having to repeat the cycle all over again.
Yeah, so there's 5 to 6 points in each map. You'll cycle through them all in a full match.
And how do they? So humans have captured the manor. So they capture the manor now.
So that cannon went off. 2 new objectives have appeared because they got the initial 2.
Okay.
So now they're just moving on. They decide as a team.
So C and E are open now.
Yeah, so it looks like they're heading to C. So they're going to try and get C before the vampires get here. They're doing pretty good. They're up 10 to 3.
And they score points for
capturing,
getting to the 2 captures, right? It's not necessarily I'm accumulating points because I'm holding it for X amount of time.
It's purely based on captures.
Okay, cool. And
right there. So we didn't see this in the last game. Alex is playing the Scout, who's our long-range specialist. The way the bow works is you can rapid fire it pretty quickly if you're in close range combat, but it's most powerful if you take the time to fully draw it back using the right mouse button.
Okay.
And what he switched to is one of the most fun weapons in the game. This is the War Bow. And what it'll do is if you reach full charge with it, and it takes about 2.5 seconds.
Ooh.
He just camouflaged, so he's invisible right now.
Okay, I like.
If you reach full, so he can charge while he's invisible. If you reach full charge, you can actually knock down your. He got attacked.
Ooh.
He's in trouble.
Yeah, that's not good.
So it's a cool bow because if you pull off a full charge, you can knock people down even out of the air. So if you tag a sentinel who's flying, he'll actually fall to the earth and take damage.
Wow.
So it's incredibly satisfying to use, but it's slower and a little bit weaker than the regular bow.
So it really just benefits from that full charge.
Right, and it's a great team weapon. You're knocking people down on your teammates, but it's a little harder to dominate with it.
And gets attacked there by that Reaver.
So if he's smart, he's probably going to pop his camouflage here and run. Yeah.
Good call. Someone's played quite a bit, and he's hunting too. He's hunting.
It was that charge.
Oh,
he whiffed.
with that.
Having a little trouble.
But that's the thing, right? So if you whiff that shot,
You're in trouble.
yeah. If they get near you, and he knows that, so now he's going to change up to the Stormbow
So
here.
the Stormbow
What is
actually
that?
shoots explosive arrows that do AoE damage, and they'll stick to the point of impact. So they explode about 2 seconds after you shoot. So you can actually use them as not proximity, but mines. Basically, if you see people coming, you could lace the ground with explosives before they get to you.
And how much damage does it do?
It's fairly comparable to the base bow, except it's AoE, but you have a smaller clip. So you're basically trading off amount of ammo for explosive shots.
Okay. And it doesn't matter like whether you charge a shot or not.
It does. The charge shot does more damage, just like with the regular bow.
Okay, but it still sticks no matter what.
Yeah, it's always a sticky projectile. It's
and that's the compound
The power
bow.
is driven. So he's going to the stock bow. That's my favorite. It's the one you get for free when you just play the scout.
Just gets the job done.
Yeah, it's very effective. So it's the best all-around bow, probably. The other bows have their perks, but this is the most,
And
rounded.
what are the two abilities that he's using there?
So he's using the throwing knives, which are a really good reactionary. Where the hunter has the bola that knocks somebody up, the scout has more quickly firing, more damaging throwing knives that will stun a vampire briefly. So it doesn't buy you as much time as the bola does, but it's a little more offensive driven, and it's a little quicker to get out. So you can use it in a pinch when your bow's not fully charged up to buy yourself some time.
Okay.
And he's also got the turret, which is a sort of mechanical device that does AoE damage. So he'll throw it out at some point. There goes the takeoff. Sentinels
Just
gone.
in time. Just because actually he was going to get
he
obliterated
was
there by
about
that
to die.
alchemist. So that's not good. And there you can see there actually it's getting contested. So they're going to have to fight this one off, but they have managed to cap
the
it.
objective.
And they're doing pretty well. But
They're up by just a little bit.
so again, so they don't get points for kills.
Right. So your only goal as a human in this is to basically fend off the vampires while you capture. So as a vampire, you do have a longer respawn time, so there's more of a penalty for death in this mode.
Okay.
So humans, you want to kill people to get them out of the fight for a while, but the real goal is to keep the capture going over.
Now
Getting
earlier
the best kill death ratio.
Earlier, when we were talking about like competitive gaming and esports and all that kind of stuff, there is more of a tendency in competitive gaming to see the objective-based game modes.
Yeah.
Right? Is that something that you personally, just as someone who would see competition, you would see a game type like this being used over, say, Team Deathmatch?
It's possible. I mean, there's a lot of history too with things like Quake or other strictly TDM games being successful. But it definitely introduces an extra layer of strategy that I can see being relevant in esports. It introduces the idea of teams working together for something other than just killing people. So I can see why that would help differentiate a top tier team from somebody a couple steps down.
Okay, for sure. I think, because obviously as that question goes and people are trying to establish like, oh, what will be played, right? And now like you see with like first person shooter games like, Call of Duty or something like that, you don't see Team Deathmatch. Oh, that was a great shot. Oh, man.
Smacked him right out of the sky.
Nice. Oh, goodness, that was great.
In trouble, huh?
Yeah, when a Reaver pounces on you and a Tyrant's right behind you, chances are it's not going to work out very well.
So you can see his kill death isn't great. He's 2-6 right now, but his team's winning. So, it's nice to have these modes, especially for players.
Up right now, though.
We've had a lot of players that say, I love the game, but I don't want to chase a kill death ratio, and this is a great way to avoid that. It's more about this mode really favors things like Alchemist with the healing skill because it's more about sustaining your team and capturing than just murdering as many people as possible.
Well, that was actually a great
There
grenade.
goes the takeoff.
You can never get away from that takeoff.
They're pretty quick. It looks like vampires have actually taken the lead here at the end, but if the humans can get one objective, they'll win.
Yeah, and
So this is going to be pretty close.
Now, the more humans you have on an objective,
It goes faster, exactly.
Of course. All right.
Oh, he's in trouble.
This isn't good.
28. You
Only
got to
2
get this
kills.
objective.
Okay, this is pretty intense.
Vampire victory.
There you go. So now 25. So it's a 5-point lead here.
So if they can win by 5
For
or
Huck's
more,
team.
They will win.
Ooh, the tension's rising. So 2-7 he went on the other
It was
side.
tough, but he had a bunch of assists, and his team almost won.
Yeah. All right. So now we have.
I think he's going to play some Tyrant, probably.
Oh, yes.
I haven't seen that yet.
Love the Tyrant. It's probably like one of my favorite classes. And it's using Ground Slam and Enrage. So, no, what does Enrage do? What do those two abilities do there for the Tyrant?
Kind of like on the Reaver that we talked about earlier, the Enrage is the offensive option for the F ability for the Tyrant. So it actually powers you more the more damage you take. So it has a base level that it makes you run faster and do more damage. So you can just pop it at full health if you want, but if you're at half, you do significantly more than that. So you get stronger and stronger the lower your health is. So the humans have to be actually pretty scared of an enraged tyrant, because as they try to kill him, he gets stronger and stronger.
Oh, that ground slam
so
there.
That was a pretty good
devastating
combo. The ground slam is a AoE stun, and if you can pull off a charge and knock him down first, you can sort of chain them. Yeah, you just got a double kill. So this is a good chance to talk about how our health system works. The vampires do have passive regeneration, but only up to a point. So they can regen minor wounds, basically. So if you get clipped a few times from across the map by a crossbow, it's not a big deal because you'll regenerate that off. But the bulk of the time you need to actually execute a human to heal. So every time you kill a human, they can be basically have the blood drained out of them. And each class has unique execution moves. And it takes some time and can be interrupted, so you have to do it in a safe place, and we allow you to actually pick up and drag bodies away from danger.
But the second you get shot, though, you end up dropping that. So that's kind of like the catch-22 there, right?
So he's going to execute here. He's just, looks like he's...
Actually saw someone.
I think he got all four. And he's enraging, so he's going to be really powerful here.
Yeah, ended up picking up, I think, one kill.
You can see he's running a bit faster right now. More off, though, but he'll probably get this kill, too. Oh, maybe not with the firewall.
Yeah, firewalls.
So he's low health right now. He's going to try and feed on this, probably. Yeah.
And there's
so you get half of your life back if you successfully execute someone.
And it's an instant regeneration. Like
versus the passive stuff takes time. You have to basically not take damage for about 10 seconds for it to kick in, but the execution restores you instantly.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool.
So a risk as a human is if you see a guy executing, you might run up and try to interrupt it, but if he pulls it off in time, you're in trouble.
So that, and you might see some advanced players know like when to, engage in a situation versus, just like kind of hanging back. We're like, all right, he already gained health, but oh my goodness. Huck just could not do anything there.
Tyrant is on a roll.
Yeah, he really is. Alex is doing a great job. I have to say, man, I'm looking at this and even I'm getting some tips, so feel pretty good.
Man, just dead people everywhere. They did capture. Looks like the humans got one objective.
I think
definitely struggling.
I think that they're feeling better. That loss was a wake up call for them.
Yeah.
Alex decided to rally the troops, make some magic happen. Of course.
Looks like it. Team Alex is definitely in the lead.
Are you Team Alex or Team Huck? That's just what it is. It's
Team Jacob.
Yeah, no, I didn't want to bring up that reference, but then it kind of went in that direction, so I'm a little embarrassed. Okay, so yes, jump attack. Thank you.
This is my favorite too. So he's switching to a totally different loadout. So he's got jump, which lets you leap incredibly high in the air, but it takes some skill to aim because you don't have a ton of air control.
Okay.
So you got to pick your spot, basically decide when to take off and try to land on people. So we'll see how good he can do.
Oh, this is going to be cool.
He also switched to ignore pain. So instead of enrage, what this basically does is harden your skin and you take 80% less damage. So it makes him an incredibly good. That's a pretty good jump.
Oh!
And now he's probably going to try a shockwave here. So we saw the ground slam last life. The shockwave lets you trade out the radial damage for a much longer range but line targeted stun.
Okay.
So he basically brings opens up the earth under him and sends like a pillar of knockdown in front of him in a line. So you get a little bit more range on your stun, but you don't hit everybody in the area anymore.
Yeah. Well, one thing we've learned here is that Huck's team's not the best with humans.
No, apparently not.
On the other side there, it took quite an effort for them to be able to win that one. So, look at that jump.
This is going to be a short jump. Yeah, he didn't quite do that right. But
he had to make a call there because he was getting shot in midair.
Here comes that shockwave.
Oh,
he got him.
Jeez, what a great lineup on that one.
And so he's tanking right now. So what I like to do when I play Brute a lot is what he's doing, which is, get your damage absorption up and actually intercept projectiles. So, the humans might not choose to attack you if they see you're invincible, but you can actually block bullets or alchemist bombs with your body.
Okay. So if an alchemist
shield, basically.
So if an alchemist shoots in front, or a vampire shield. So if an alchemist shoots their projectile, will it explode on impact if you're standing right in front?
Yeah, and she will actually take some damage from her own bomb. So if you crowd her, you can actually get her to kill herself by shooting bombs.
Wow. So and that's some advanced thinking.
Yeah,
there, right?
Definitely.
That's pretty sick though that you can get to that point thought wise and be like, all right, well, let's see where the situation is. A lot of close off areas. Ooh, this isn't good, but might actually bust out that the ignore pain and try and make something happen. And he's second now, which isn't going to be good. It's actually at 135.85. Did not get a chance to do it.
They have a pretty
switching up.
comfortable margin of victory, but I think he's going to try a little
Sentinel gameplay. I
A
like.
little victory Sentinel since they're about to win.
Yeah, we saw a little bit of the Sentinel earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Couple, sweeps and being able to pick people
Looks
up.
like he's got a different skin on. This is the Hammerhead skin, as we call it.
Yeah, I actually saw this one. Very unique design.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And now the humans, of course, have a long road to victory here.
Definitely.
They get 5 points for every cap, though.
Yes, they
Right.
do. So if they were somehow able to capture 3 points without dying, which is fairly unlikely, now 1 life left, they could theoretically win, but it's not looking too good.
Yeah, and the other thing to bear in mind as well, and something I've noticed, is the humans, and there you see it right there. So seems like Alex's team with a deciding 10-point victory in Siege. Something I noticed was they weren't sticking together. They weren't working well with one another.
They
the
seem to
humans.
struggle with that this game. So that will definitely spell your doom if you don't coordinate very well.
Yeah.
So you can see Amazing Hawk on the other team. Our All-Star was 1-8, so he must have just had an off game.
Oh man, well that's actually Siege was fun. That looked great.
Yeah.
I would say it's a great twist on the what you'll commonly see on Deathmatch,
Sure.
and I think it lends itself really well to Nosgoth. So it's pretty cool stuff there. Cool. All right, so when we come back, we're gonna have our third and final game. Should be awesome, of course, and we got a little special surprise as well in just a bit. So you're not gonna want to miss this one. We'll see you guys in just a few. All right, guys, welcome back here to our Nosgoth broadcast. Of course, Alex joined by Corey here. We're talking about everything that's going on in the game, and before the break, I said we're going to see something pretty cool. So as the game goes on, just keep your eyes out because something could be a little out of place. Now, I don't actually know how it's going to look, so they've been keeping me in the dark about this all day, which is actually not all that fair. So let's jump into the action.
Yep.
All right, so we are on Freeport, which is basically the map that everyone, if you played the alpha, you took part in. Really well made map, I must say. Well balanced, especially giving humans good cover and whatnot. And we're also seeing some hunter gameplay. Yep. So what should we expect here from these two teams?
I just saw something up there.
What is that?
I don't know what that is. So hopefully Alex's team, well, I guess they won the last round. So that is a different class that we haven't seen before.
Okay, what is that?
That is the Deceiver. It looks like, oh, he got saved.
Man.
So maybe we'll see what the Deceiver does in a second.
Oh.
But he is our 4th vampire class. You can see he's a little freaky looking. He doesn't run right.
Okay, so what is the Deceiver exactly? Like what is
So
it
he's
doing?
a master of illusion, basically mental powers, projecting things like that. So if you see a human doing something a little odd, you might want to whack them with your crossbow to make sure they're not a Deceiver.
Okay.
Here comes a Reaver.
Yeah, there comes a Reaver. And it's oh my goodness. That is not good. Okay.
That was a pretty good escape, though. That alchemist looked pretty similar to the other one. Oh god, it was a Deceiver.
Oh. So the Deceiver actually shares all the same traits, right?
So he basically takes the form of a teammate. So you can damage him though, and you can see blood come out. So kind of like figuring out a spy in Team Fortress. If you think a guy's suspicious, you can kind of shoot at him and see if he's a bad guy.
Okay.
But you have to be alert enough to notice that something's a little off.
Now, the other question that I have about the Deceiver is that they also get the green hue around them as well, right? So,
So they look exactly like a team.
oh my goodness, that is not fair.
There's no easy tell.
Why would you give that to me? That is something for me to worry about now. No. So, and now, what are some of the good counters for the Deceiver?
Well, pretty much any area of effect spell is going to make them take damage. So if you think, you can drop pretty much anything, and if they're a bad guy, they're going to get outed pretty quickly. And, generally, pretty much anything. You can just shoot at them and see if they're bad. So.
And when they're in Deceiver mode, when they're in the illusion, I should say, and they're like, taking the form of a team member, can they shoot?
As soon as they attack or use an ability, the illusion will break.
Okay.
So, but what they like to do, so what we saw a little bit of, but hopefully we'll see again, they have a backstab move where they basically conjure this sort of spectral blade out of their arm, and if they land it on you from behind, you take triple damage.
Oh, and the Deceiver actually tried to get away.
Dead there. So what works really well as a Deceiver is to sneak up behind people and then trigger the backstab out of your disguise.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's going to be a fun class to play. I can't wait to.
So what we haven't seen yet, he can actually conjure 2 copies of himself.
Okay.
spawn 2 illusions that you can't tell from him. So that's a good escape move as a Deceiver, is to, if you're in trouble, pop your illusions and the humans don't know which one's real and you can run away at that point.
Oh.
There they are.
Oh, wow.
They actually take a bit of damage. That was the real one, it looks like.
Wow. So now, what are the travel paths for the fake one? Like, is it
They
going to just
pick
run
a
in a straight
random
line?
enemy and chase them down, but they can climb walls just like any other vampire.
So they'll traverse.
Yeah, they can do
And-
anything a regular player can do.
Goodness, that's insane.
Right now they don't deal damage, they're just illusions, but we're considering having them do damage. It seems a little overpowered right now, so we're not doing it.
So
keep it in our back pocket if he needs a buff.
now, speaking of the balance, though, we actually see the score right now is 12 to. Oh my goodness, that just freaks me out. Like seeing
I was
it.
just backstepping this up for a moment there.
Oh man.
I think he's dead though.
Yeah. So score's actually
there,
tied right now,
Yeah, it's a close
12-12. Share with me some stats. I mean, because a lot of people are going to look at this and they're going to be like, "Oh, the vampire is that tyrant. He's so good." But obviously it all comes down to like the individual player.
Sure.
What have you seen? Of course, because you're the all-knowing, seeing eye. What have you seen in your time?
So the
looking
most
at
interesting
stats?
stat out of the entire alpha test is, we look at everything from player performance to win-loss for teams, and we've seen across the entire alpha that vampires win about 50.5% of matches and humans win 49.5%, so extremely close.
What? That's crazy.
Yeah.
So that's for any of the naysayers out there.
Yeah.
That are like.
So vampires are not overpowered.
Yeah, they're not.
Or only
okay.
by 0.5%.
Yeah, right. And watch, there's gonna be someone that pops up on like the Nosgoth Reddit,
Sure.
and he's gonna be like, that 0.5%.
Well,
it's not fair.
It's an ongoing, I think we want the game to be as balanced as possible, but
Yeah.
it's going to be an ongoing process with this alpha and this beta. So.
Well, and when it goes out into the wild, people obviously are gonna react and do things different. So that's always gonna be a crazy experience there. Now
Definitely.
that you're kind of tossing new classes into that, it's really gonna mix up the meta quite a bit.
Very much so. So
Oh man.
that's something, we look forward to continuing to expand the class roster to keep the metagame and overall strategy. So he's back with the knockdown bow.
I saw that, and that was a great shot.
That
was
Reaver's all over him.
Yeah.
So he just put down a trap. We haven't seen that too much, but the scout has a proximity. Oh, there's a Deceiver. He's down.
Got the knockdown. I actually got the kill assist on that too. Tyrant was
There
dead.
goes the trap. So the trap persists even if you die. It's proximity based, so it's spring loaded. If a vampire gets too close to it, it will explode and do a lot of damage and stun them. So a good strategy as a scout is to trap maybe like the entrance to this hallway, and if a vampire tries to come in and flank you, he'll take a bunch of damage and get stunned. There go a bunch of Deceiver copies.
Oh man, he doesn't know
That
which
was the
is-
real one. I think he guessed right.
That was a good
Yeah,
one.
just you can see he just flipped over. So an interesting thing is if
And he
you-
changed it to him too, which I think is even funnier.
so what you were saying earlier, the downside to looking just like a human is they can see you through walls because you have that outline.
Okay.
So as a Deceiver, you have to be really aware of the fact that once you pop that disguise, the
Yeah.
humans are going to know where you are.
Well, and usually it could be best to just pop it when you're in like a group, right? And
Or at the last second, so they
Yeah.
don't see an outline coming from across the map at them. So it counterbalances the ability a little bit.
Yep, and
There goes a Reaver.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, I missed the knockdown shot.
Yeah, and that's a great knife there.
Humans are up 4 right now.
And the kill too. That was actually a really
Oh,
great.
Deceiver.
Oh, the Deceiver! No, get
Oh, he's
away!
down.
Oh man, that Deceiver just pops up out of nowhere, and it looks crazy too.
He's pretty crazy looking.
So, have you guys like when you came up with this idea? Like, when you guys come up with a new class, how do you go about that?
It can be in a variety of ways. Sometimes we just want a new role for the game. Sometimes we just have an idea. The Deceiver is actually one of the first classes we came up with because Dave and I both really wanted somebody that would sort of screw with you, like show you things that aren't there, take over your controls. So one ability we're not showing today, but that he has is called Dominate Mind, and what it actually lets you do is take over the target and like run them away from their teammates.
Okay.
So we were big. He just disguised, I think. We were big fans of stuff like Eternal. He got the kill on the disguised Deceiver.
Yeah. Well, and on top of that too, he popped the disguise when he was getting shot at.
Yeah.
But sometimes
it
players,
works in chaos. Yeah.
Now, is there like a certain amount
knockdown bow.
Great shot. Is there a certain amount of like assistance with it, or because of course I come from like a console background, so is there? It's nothing really changes when you're aiming over that person versus your teammates or anything like that. It's all just controlled by you.
Yeah, we have a little bit of not Deceiver specific, but we do have a little bit of aim assistance with human shots in particular, just because it's so hard to hit vampires.
Because of the speed.
Yeah,
the
so
moving
it's very weak, and we're looking at, there have already been requests from players to turn it off, and obviously for esports, there can be a motivation to not have any kind of aim assistance. So we'll definitely look at ways to disable that type of stuff for competitive player for people that don't want it.
Oh, interesting. Of course, it's always good to have that freedom,
Yeah.
right? And that's always a positive. So now we're switching here,
Right.
and we're going to see Deceiver gameplay,
Yeah.
and this should be fun. So let's see if our good friend Alex decides to jump to some Deceiver. No, he's going to stick with the Tyrant for right now.
It's like a,
Yeah, safe bet, right? We'll probably switch to Deceiver midway through the match, though. Let's see why not.
Okay. So he's using an ability I really like called Marathon, which we've seen the Tyrants charging around the map occasionally. Haven't seen it too much first person. Marathon's a cool variant that lets you go for much longer, as the name might imply, but it cools down much slower. So
And you still charge through people.
right, it's functionally very similar to charge. It just lets you go for pretty extreme distances, so you can pull off some pretty crazy skill shots running around the map, but you have to use it a little more tactically because you can't use it as often.
Okay. And
So
those
see,
are
he's
interesting.
covered quite a bit of ground there. He's going to stun and maybe get the kill if the total doesn't go off here. Yeah.
Yep, that was actually a great one.
There
So
comes some grenades. He's in trouble. There comes the ignore pain. So he's soaking up some damage for his teammates.
yeah, and he's going to go on. No reason to really go on the chase there,
Right.
but he is actually going
He's
to.
going to pop his charge. Oh, had
Bad call to make. Oh, there is
Yeah.
someone there right next to him.
a little trouble, but he's going to feast on these guys.
Yeah, because he definitely needs to.
Got to pull this off
regenerate that
before
health.
those bolts get on the corner. He got it. Here comes another Marathon.
That marathon.
See how
definitely.
much range he's got.
Oh,
There's
goodness.
Bola, but so you see the ignore pain can actually break you out of Bola. So you can't attack while you're ignoring pain, but it will allow you to do things like climb or get away.
but there are different kinds of bolas too, though, right?
Yeah.
There's
So
like
what we
a
just saw
poison
was
bola.
the poison.
Yeah.
So the poison Bola actually does damage to people that you hit with it, but it doesn't last as long. So you
So it's
trade
like
off
hit you
a
on the
little-
initial hit.
Right. It
hits
poisons
you.
them on impact. But
Okay.
so you're basically trading a little bit of control over the vampire for some guaranteed damage.
Okay.
So they're balanced, but just whether you prefer damage or disable.
Now, one question that I had was, have you guys considered, just out of curiosity, adding like a crosshair for the vampires?
We've looked at it. The problem is, it doesn't always. A crosshair is that's dangerous. You can't actually fall into the water to your death on this map if you leap out of down.
Maybe something to think about.
Yeah, we'll definitely look at the crosshair idea. With melee,
I mean, it's pretty straightforward.
the damage follows your arm, so it's not always going to be accurate to a crosshair. You do get a crosshair in aiming specific abilities like the pounce. You'll see when he charges the pounce, you do get a crosshair.
Yeah, you get
But,
that circle around, right?
If we have users asking for passive crosshair for melee as well, we can certainly add that.
Well, and I think that's, again, it just kind of like speaks to the flexibility that you guys have, going into this, and of course listening very much to the community. So I always think that's going to be a positive for a lot of the fans that are going to get into the game, and they're going to know that, like, hey, Psyonix listens, which is pretty cool. So some more Tyrant gameplay here, and they just absolutely swarming over
That was
people.
Pretty ugly.
You
Very
know-
close game though. It's 9-8. So
Yeah,
we've
actually.
been seeing a fairly one-sided view from Alex's point of view, but
Yeah. Well, he's been performing, for the viewers. And there goes that marathon again. He's actually going to be
gonna
able to
make
hit.
it.
Oh, and in a corner too. Oh, and he gets kidnapped.
that guy's not happy right now.
So you can get kidnapped while being knocked on the floor.
Yeah. Well, if you're on the ground, you won't get snatched, but I believe he was actually midair at the instant he got kidnapped.
Oh, serious?
So that Sentinel got pretty lucky on the timing.
Wow.
We do try to, it's frustrating to get completely locked up the entire time you're being knocked down. So we give you a little bit of immunity and damage reduction when you're on your ass, basically.
Lying on the ground,
Yeah.
it's like Humpty Dumpty. So it seems as if, again, that balance is coming into play here. But we're starting to see the humans kind of turtle up a little bit.
Yeah.
But every single time, like,
They've
the
been able to
Tyrants
break
kind of
it.
just been able to get in there and make
especially
something
that
happen.
marathon charge.
Yeah.
But he just wasted it, so
Ooh.
that scout's not paying attention.
Yeah. No
See,
calls.
he's gone. I think they got him, yeah.
There they go. They got him.
Oh, there goes a shockwave.
Gonna change it up here. Oh, hop
here
into the
comes some
Deceiver. Okay, so we have, so since the game is early, obviously in development,
Some temporary artwork.
there's temporary artwork, but what are the abilities here? So we have the backstab.
It looked like he picked up backstab, dominate mind instead of disguise, and the illusion. So we won't see him turning into a human this life, but if we're lucky, we'll see him taking over one and running them away from their team.
That should be pretty fun.
It's really interesting. The first time you play it, he popped his illusions to distract him, it looks like.
It's a very weird looking.
Yeah, he's very intentionally creepy.
Yeah.
But we found it's a really cool experience the first time you're playing a Deceiver with this dominate mind ability, because you'll see your buddy just up and run out of the room that you're all camping, and it's very confusing.
All right, and he's trying to dominate.
It's a little bit out of range there, but you do have to charge it up. You can't just take over a guy in a split second. It's for balance reasons.
Oh, wow. And he actually was able to completely get that guy to think that he was going, oh, man, this isn't good.
Kill. Backstab. So that was a front stab, so he doesn't do nearly as much damage.
But if he gets him from behind, what's the damage looking like?
About 600, which is 60% of a human's life approximately. So it's pretty nasty if you can pull it off.
Oh.
And the Reaver to finish it off.
Nice. Okay. So seeing some interesting gameplay out of here, I can see how the different combinations of classes can really work with the other classes here. So that's actually pretty cool, because I mean, like, where people who play the alpha are so used to, like, the Reaver and the Tyrant.
So that's a whole new dimension.
Yeah, this really is different. And honestly, I'm just creeped out looking at him. He just bothers me.
Yeah. It's pretty weird. Oh, he almost caught it.
I want to see this dominate mind happen.
The effects are not done for it yet, so you can see a little bit of rough around the edges.
And of course, because the game is still alpha.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there is always going to be that aspect to it. But I think people appreciate that.
There we go.
Oh, no! Oh, that is amazing.
So you can see it's a little jerky. We're working on the polish for this stuff, but he's completely neutralized this guy out of the fight.
And so the player just stays there.
You just get to watch yourself run away, basically. You can't do anything about it.
That is so messed up.
If your team does spot the Deceiver, they can interrupt it, so it's not like you're totally... Oh, he anticipated the bola.
And he doesn't have anything to break out of the bola, so he's...
Not on this build. Oh, there's a grenade. He's toast.
Nice. That was actually a great play there.
Hoping to pick up disguise here. It looks like it, yeah. It's going to take disguise this time, so we'll see a little bit of it.
That dominate mind ability was awesome.
It's pretty sweet. We're hoping it's going to have some pretty cool effects here.
Yeah.
So he's just disguised. He turned into one of the hunters, it looks like. You do move at your normal vampire movement rate, so if humans are paying attention, then there's a really fast hunter running around.
Yeah.
But, in the heat of battle, it's easy to overlook that type of stuff.
Okay, so no one's really spotted him yet.
No, he's sneaking up. He's going to probably try and backstab here.
Oh, yeah, he's going to... Oh, my God, he's going to get it. He's going to get it.
He's being a little obvious.
No.
Not well executed.
He had the chance, though. He had the chance.
He had his window. He's probably going to see his illusions. Yeah, there we go.
Okay, and the illusions, again, is just so distracting. You have to take that guess.
He's got his disguise back. Oh, that he saw. Oh, she didn't see. He's probably going to go in for the backstab here. Oh.
But they didn't notice. I'm like an no. It's always funny. It's always funny to see someone go for something and then a sentinel just swoops by and then just takes you away. It's like, go for a ride. Woo!
He's got disguise if he's smart here. Oh, the backstab, he got it.
Oh, that was big.
There we go, kill.
Nice. Oh, and
he has a pretty nasty execution. He kind of stabs you to death with his fingers.
Yeah, that is just
pretty ugly.
I am just really bothered by how this character looks. This is just really disturbing.
Sending some copies out to scout, I guess.
Oh, wow.
You can burn, if humans mistake your copies, then maybe they'll use a cooldown and be without it for 30.
Oh, he's going to get this.
Nice one.
That was great.
He's got it. Oh no. He's in trouble.
40.
The firewall.
And so, like, an alchemist, like, that's just like a default, right? Like, resort straight to that firewall because that's going to give you, at least some kind of, because they have to get close. No matter what, they have to get close.
Yeah, it's a very strong ability.
Yeah. And then, now, is there, like, a burn damage as well?
Right. So you take damage, he's smart, he's going to follow that soon. You take damage every second that you're inside the firewall, but it also applies a damage over time burn to you.
I can't believe they did not see him transform.
Oh,
that was dirty.
Slick.
Oh man,
that was pretty slick.
They did not see him transform there. Well, then again, though, the other aspect to bear in mind is you can also just think that that's a respawn.
Yeah.
Right. If you're not careful.
Got it.
And there you have it. Vampires with
Alex's
the win.
Team 30 on both rounds.
That was pretty cool.
That was very close.
That was great. So big performance there out of Eric on the vampire side, 12-6.
12-6 is pretty good.
Yeah. That was pretty fun, I would have to say. I am not looking forward to playing against the Deceiver by any means, way, shape, or form.
You're gonna doubt your teammates a little bit.
So, of course, if you want more updates and everything like that, you can check out nosgoth.com, but also follow the Twitch channel, because if you follow the Twitch channel, there's a follow button like right above the screen there. If you follow it, you will get updates on when the stream not only goes live, but also they will be doing some beta giveaways as well, because the beta will be coming out pretty soon. Yeah, right? So for more updates on that, make sure you guys check out www.nosgoth.com. But for myself and everyone here at Psionic Studios here in San Diego, California, we'll see you next time. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care.